Good morning, America. For our viewers in the West, the youth explosion overnight, sentencing day for Sean Diddy Combs, a Showgirl takeover, and the Yankees win. Breaking overnight, the massive explosion filling the Los Angeles night sky. The inferno seen for miles.
That right there appears to be the epicenter of this explosion.
Firefighters rushing to the scene after the blast, so strong, people thought it was a plane crash. Residents near the largest oil refinery on the West Coast told to shelter in place.
President Trump threatens to fire federal workers as the Senate returns for a vote that could end the shutdown. The president eyeing cuts to what he calls Democrat agencies, targeting programs important to his political opponents, as Democrats refuse to back down.
Judgment Day for Sean Diddy Combs, set to be sentenced following his conviction on 2 transportation for prostitution charges. His appeal to the judge, as prosecutors say he deserves 11 years in prison. Dan Abrams is here.
Deadly terror attack. The suspect identified, accused of ramming his car into a crowd and killing 2 people at a synagogue on the holiest day on the Jewish calendar.
Overnight,
she wasn't just my daughter. She was my best friend.
What the families of the 2 teenagers killed when an SUV hit their e-bike said about their daughters and the 17-year-old suspect.
There's more to the story that you're not getting, but when the time comes, I will explain it in greater detail.
As we learn new details this morning.
Plus, how Florida's Treasure Coast is living up to its name, the $1 Million Discovery.
Electric performance. The Yankees rookie shutting down the Red Sox as 3 teams punch their ticket to the next round. And the Showgirl era is here. Taylor Swift's new album dropped overnight. This morning, what it reveals. The surprises this weekend, plus what Taylor said overnight.
There's always some element of drama that someone is forcing into my consciousness, which is fun to write about.
And Maggie Rulli on the most adorable assignment ever.
It's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Friday. Good morning, America.
With a bunch of golden retrievers to put a smile on your face to begin the Friday. Good morning, America. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, it's the perfect assignment for Good Morning America on a Friday and Maggie Rulli. And it is a busy Friday morning here. Ginger is standing by with the dangerous coastal impacts to look out for this weekend from that dissipating storm in the Atlantic.
But first we begin with that breaking news. The investigation after a massive explosion overnight at the largest oil refinery on the West Coast. The inferno seen for miles. Trevor Alt is near the scene. And Trevor, what are we learning right now?
Good morning, Michael. So this refinery is so large, it has its own fire department, and overnight they certainly had their hands full trying to contain these incredible flames that sent people rushing to evacuate, other people told to shelter in place, and the video showing this incredible fire and its scale are pretty astounding.
Overnight, a massive explosion at a Chevron refinery, sending a massive fireball into the night sky. Firefighters rushing to the scene in El Segundo, California around 9:30 last night, trying to tackle that gigantic blaze, several fires burning within the facility.
Yeah, we have heavy flames showing from the refinery. I'll need a truck company with a master stream to respond to this.
Towering flames and billowing smoke turning the night sky red. The inferno could be seen for miles. That blast so strong, residents say they thought it was an earthquake or a plane crash.
Yeah, it was a terrible explosion, very loud, shook the house like more than any earthquake ever before.
Out of control, for sure, and we didn't know what was going to happen next.
Those residents were told to stay indoors and shelter in place after concerns about the air quality.
There are several massive flames coming from the refinery. That right there appears to be the epicenter of this explosion that occurred.
At times, it seemed like the fire was under control, and then it would flare back up again. The smoke traveling to nearby LAX, blanketing the planes on the tarmac. That oil refinery is the largest on the West Coast, spanning 2 square miles. It supplies more than 40% of the jet fuel and more than 20% of the motor vehicle fuel for Southern California. Not yet clear what caused this explosion, but no injuries have been reported.
Now, incredibly, Chevron says all of its personnel are accounted for and safe, and officials here are now monitoring the hotspots and also the air quality here in the surrounding area. George?
Okay, Trevor, thanks. Return now to the government shutdown, and senators returning to Washington to vote on 2 bills that could keep federal funds flowing, but the sides remain far apart, and President Trump is doubling down on threats to cut programs and fire federal workers. Senior congressional correspondent Rachel Scott is on Capitol Hill. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you. We are now entering day 3 of the government shutdown, and there is still no end in sight. Negotiations are at a standstill as the administration threatens to fire thousands. This morning, as senators prepared to return to Capitol Hill, the president pushing forward with plans for mass firings and program cuts, saying it's an unprecedented opportunity.
I'm allowed to cut things that should have never been approved in the first place, and I will probably do that.
The White House pressed on just how many workers could be fired.
Can you give us an estimate on the amount of federal workers that the Trump administration wants to fire during the government shutdown?
Look, it's likely going to be in the thousands.
The president making clear he's eyeing cuts to what he called Democrat agencies, targeting programs important to his political opponents. Democrats refusing to bow to the pressure. The White House is now threatening to fire thousands of federal employees. Is that a risk that you're willing to take by putting up this fight, and for how long?
The Trump administration has been firing thousands of federal employees outside of the context of a government shutdown since January 20th. They need to come to the table.
But negotiations are at a standstill.
People say, why aren't you negotiating with Schumer and Jeffries? Because I quite literally have nothing to negotiate.
Democrats digging in, saying they won't fund the government until Republicans agree to reverse Medicaid cuts and extend expiring Obamacare subsidies so health insurance premiums don't go up for millions of Americans, like Kristen Furman Simmons in Maine, who is battling MS. She says if the Obamacare subsidies expire, her premiums could go up 169%.
We're really not sure what's going to happen with that and really where we're going to find that money in our budget.
Also caught in the middle of this shutdown, hundreds of thousands of furloughed federal employees. Some even reporting that their out-of-office reply messages have been automatically reset to denounce Democratic senators. One education department employee telling ABC News, "We as career government officials need to be neutral when carrying out our jobs. That automatic reply message is what anyone seeking assistance from a government worker is going to see." So the Senate returns back to Capitol Hill today. They come back into session, and Senate Majority Leader John Thune says if Democrats do not vote for their bill to fund the government, he will likely be sending lawmakers home for the weekend, which means this shutdown will drag on for at least another few days, Rebecca.
All right. Really appears to be a stalemate there, Rachel. Thank you. We turn now to President Trump raising the stakes in his battle with suspected drug smugglers. The White House sent a confidential notice to Congress saying the U.S. is now engaged in an armed conflict with drug cartels. Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz is in Washington with more. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, Rebecca. We've seen the Trump administration boast about U.S. airstrikes on what they say are Venezuelan drug smuggling vessels. But this morning, for the first time, they are justifying those strikes, saying we are now in armed conflict with the cartels.
This morning, tension between Venezuela and the U.S. rising sharply after Venezuela claims that 5 American warplanes were detected off the Venezuelan coast. This as the U.S. deploys a fleet of warships throughout the Caribbean in an effort the administration says to combat drug trafficking. Venezuela calling it a vulgarity and a threat to national security. Now, the Trump administration is saying America is at war with drug cartels. In a memo obtained by ABC News, the administration telling Congress that America is in armed conflict and that drug cartels are unlawful combatants, a designation used as rationale for those strikes on multiple boats last month, resulting in the deaths of suspected drug smugglers. The administration now arguing President Trump has determined that cartels engaged in smuggling drugs are non-state armed groups whose actions constitute an armed attack against the United States, a determination raising ethical and legal concerns.
There is no legal basis domestically or internationally for the president to be just abusing the power to kill people in America's name by declaring essentially that stating that we are formally in a non-international armed conflict in a war with particular groups. That allows the president to use that authority here to go after people.
The memo to Congress does not specifically name any one foreign terrorist organization, but the Pentagon saying that the prior law enforcement approach against cartels was unsuccessful. As for the strikes on the boats, the administration has not offered evidence showing the tie to cartels. George?
Martha Raddatz, thanks. Now to the investigation into the deadly terror attack at a synagogue in Manchester, England, on the holiest day in the Jewish religion. 2 people were killed, 3 others seriously hurt. Lama Hassan joins us from London with the latest. Good morning, Lama.
Yeah, good morning to you, George. Scotland Yard are now calling this a terror incident, and counter-terrorism police are leading the investigation, stepping up security outside synagogues across the UK. The dramatic moment of the attack are caught on camera. Watch as officers surround the suspect. They see he's wearing a vest. They think it's a bomb. They then shoot and kill him. Police identifying the attacker as 35-year-old Jihad al-Shami, a British citizen of Syrian descent. Authorities also arresting 2 men and 1 woman in connection with this incident. The horrific attack unfolding outside a synagogue in Manchester on Thursday morning on Yom Kippur. The suspect driving his car at people police say deliberately, then getting out and attacking them with a knife. At least 2 men killed and 3 others seriously injured. The Jewish community is in shock and trying to come to terms with this deadly terror attack. Michael?
Shocking for everyone, Lama. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to turn now to the FDA approving a second generic form of the abortion pill, mifepristone. But it comes as Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is promising to investigate all forms of medication abortions. Elizabeth Schulze joined us from Washington with more. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Hey, good morning, Michael. The FDA is expanding the availability of the abortion pill, approving a new generic version of the drug mifepristone. These are medications used in about 2/3 of all abortions nationwide. They also help manage an early miscarriage. Anti-abortion advocates have been urging the Trump administration to limit access to mifepristone, so approval of this second generic version is now sparking pushback. The Susan B. Anthony group saying this reckless decision by the FDA is unconscionable. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tried to address the backlash, saying federal law requires approval when an application proves that the generic is identical to the brand name drug. Now, just last week, Kennedy pledged to conduct a review of women's access to abortion pills. Since the end of Roe v. Wade, at least 16 states have banned nearly all abortions. But some people in those states have still been able to get access to the abortion pill through telehealth appointments and the mail. Mifepristone was first approved by the FDA in the year 2000. Repeated medical studies have shown that it is safe, George.
Okay, Elizabeth, we're going to go back overseas now to Russia, carrying out massive strikes across Ukraine overnight. Tom Sufi-Burge is tracking the latest on that. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, George. Yeah, Russia launching a wave of strikes against Ukraine, more than 400 missiles and drones, and crucially, as we move towards winter, targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Now, most of those Russian missiles and drones were shot down, but Ukraine's Air Force recording a significant number of strikes from 18 Russian missiles and 78 drones in 15 different locations. Thankfully, no humans killed, but a farm hit, killing thousands of animals. Russia's ability to now overwhelm Ukraine's air defenses is very clear, and the attack follows more threatening rhetoric from Russian President Vladimir Putin towards Europe. Putin promising a significant response to European nations working to build up their militaries and defensive capabilities, and the Russian leader hitting back at President Trump's suggestion that Russia is a paper tiger. Michael?
All right, Tom, thank you so much for that. We're going to turn now to the dangerous coastal impacts from that dissipating storm in the Atlantic. Ginger, of course, is tracking all the flood threats for us. Good morning, Ginger.
Yeah, we have coastal flooding, not just because Imelda's leaving, but because this high pressure system is pushing more water toward the coast. When you see these images we've been showing you all week, it's hard to imagine this is the 8th home this week that has fallen in. And people say, well, why did they build there? Well, 20 years ago, the beach was 100 feet longer. Wow. So that's part of it. Yep, Sam said, wow, because the erosion is happening fast. It's accelerated in this area. And so when you've got storms like this, or even onshore winds, you're going to have more of that. So another home falls in, and then you've got that high pressure system still pushing water at the coast. So from Virginia and North Carolina down to Jacksonville, Daytona, Satellite Beach, you're going to have water coming on shore. That's why you have coastal flood advisories. High surf advisory is now perking up in the purple area from Satellite down through Port St. Lucie and West Palm, because you also have this stationary front. So it's dry above that, but it's very very wet here in South Florida and will stay that way through the weekend. Actually, we've got a level 2 out of 4 for flash flooding because you could see 1 to 3 inch rain totals easily in some spots. In the area highlighted there in yellow, you could do 3 to 5 inches. So it's going to happen to kick off the weekend quite wet. They are in a flood risk there as well. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. Plus, we've got a lot of warmth to talk about, Rebecca, right here in the Northeast, back to Chicago.
All right, a lot of people looking forward to that. Ginger, thank you. We're going to turn now to October baseball. In just the second time ever, there were 3 winner-takes-all games in one day. Sam has all the action. Hey, Sam.
Sam on sports. All right, let's go. Let's start with one of the fiercest rivalries in all of sports, I think, and that's the Red Sox versus the Yankees. One game to decide who's moving on. The Yankees struck first. Can I just stop for just a minute and say Cam Schlittler? First, because I want to practice, but second, because he's a superstar. So back to business. Struck first, scoring 4 runs in the 4th inning, and it turned out that was more than enough because the story of the game was Yankees rookie pitcher Cam Schlittler. He dominated the Sox with 12 strikeouts over 8 shutout innings. Nobody got through him, and he had some defense behind him. Defense, as they say in the biz. Third baseman Ryan McMahon flipping into the dugout. That's feet overhead to make this incredible catch. Now, you're not going to get a lot of help when you flip into the other team's dugout to make a catch, right? No one's going to help you or help you up.
Trying to catch you from falling, really falling.
All right, Yankees advance to face the Toronto Blue Jays. They travel today and play tomorrow. Now, in the other American League series, the Detroit Tigers eliminating the division rival Cleveland Guardians. A home run by Dylan Dingler, again carefully. The 6th put Detroit ahead. They scored 4 more in the 7th and held on for the win. Now it's on to Seattle for a showdown with the Mariners. And then the National League, which, by the way, Michael, is a whole nother league. It's a whole different, it's a different league. Yeah, it's amazing. The Chicago Cubs taking care of business at home. They scored early in this one and kept the San Diego Padres off the board completely until the 9th inning, late in the game. The Cubs winning 3-1 to reach their first National League Division Series since 2017. The Cubs will travel only about 90 miles to take on Milwaukee Brewers starting on Saturday.
Well done.
Thank you.
That was perilous.
I'm glad you slowed it down when you needed to. That's all I'm going to say.
Could have gone wrong.
All right, thank you, Sam. Coming up, sentencing day for Sean Diddy Combs. Eric Katursky is at the courthouse with the music mogul's plea to the judge, and Dan Abrams is standing by to break down what to expect in court.
Plus, the latest on the 2 New Jersey teenagers killed in an alleged hit and run. You will hear what their families said overnight and what we're learning about the 17-year-old suspect.
And Larry, you had a long night. Taylor Swift's album came out overnight.
I'm exhausted, George. I'm exhausted. And it's showtime, everybody. Taylor Swift dropping her 12th album overnight. Life of a Showgirl. We'll have the reactions and what the superstar herself is saying about her new music.
Coming up, we are celebrating 4 decades of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Our studio will be filled with thrivers, and our team of experts will answer some important questions for you. So you stay right there, and we will be right back on this beautiful Friday morning.
You know the beat. Taylor Swift released her new album overnight, 12 tracks. And it's her 12th album.
This is the fate of Ophelia. And George, you got to be honest. Did you have the windows down rolling into work this morning?
No, I'm waiting for the reviews from my daughters. They're sleeping in this morning.
They were up last night waiting for the album, George. Probably listened to it all night. But that is great. Congratulations to Taylor Swift and all the Swifties out there. But first, new at 7:30, we have new video that captures the collision on a taxiway at New York's LaGuardia Airport between 2 regional jets. A flight attendant was injured, and there was damage to a cockpit and part of a wing. Federal investigators were sent to the scene to determine what went wrong. Also at a major airport overseas, after a string of mysterious drone sightings, the Munich airport was temporarily shut down, leaving hundreds of passengers stranded.
And it was an overtime thriller on Thursday Night Football. The 49ers took the lead with a field goal, doinking off the upright and in. That's the first time I've said that out loud.
Is that a word?
Yes, it is. It's off the upright. That's how it works, George. And then their defense came up big, stuffing the Rams on the 4th and won to win the game over their division rivals and move into first place in the NFC West.
I actually stayed up to over and watch that. That's why I'm tired.
And you taught me how to say doinking off, so we're good. Plus, Florida's Treasure Coast living up to its name. A team of excavators has announced that it has found $1 million in treasure from a Spanish shipwreck. The treasure includes more than 1,000 silver and gold coins. They were lost at sea when a hurricane struck a fleet of ships in 1715. That's a long time to be
quite
missing.
Quite a find.
Quite a find.
Yeah. We're going to turn now to Sean Diddy Combs. He's due in court this morning for sentencing following his conviction on two charges of transportation and prostitution charges. Dan Abrams is standing by. First, Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Tursky is at the courthouse with the latest. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning to you, George. After a 2-month trial with tearful testimony, graphic evidence, and a split verdict, this is the final stage of the criminal case against Sean Combs, sentencing day. This morning, the day of reckoning for one of hip-hop's most legendary figures. Sean Combs is asking for imminent release following his conviction on 2 counts of transportation for the purposes of prostitution. In a direct appeal for mercy overnight, the rap mogul writing to the judge, "I lost my way," adding, "I take full responsibility and accountability for my past wrongs." Though he was acquitted of more serious charges, federal prosecutors said Combs left women broken and beaten and deserves 11 years in prison. Defense attorneys called that draconian, far-fetched, and absurd. But prosecutors pointing to this 2016 hotel security camera footage that shows Combs attacking then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura as proof Combs has a penchant for violence, threats, and emotional control. In a letter to the judge, Ventura said, "I am so scared that if he walks free, his first actions will be swift retribution towards me and others who spoke up."
I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
Combs apologized after the video became public and now says, "I literally lost my mind. I was dead wrong for putting my hands on the woman that I loved. I'm sorry for that and always will be."
Don't leave your girl around me, true player for real. Ask Puff Daddy.
The music impresario behind successful talents like Biggie Smalls, Usher, Lil' Kim, and Mary J. Blige. Combs became a hitmaker beyond music. His brand was everywhere: cable, clothing, and alcohol. Now those lofty achievements are long behind him. Combs has been in jail for more than a year, and his team says that time spent behind bars has been life-changing, filled with reading books, writing, working out or in therapy, and getting sober. He has also been teaching a 6-week class to fellow inmates called Free Game about becoming an entrepreneur. The theme of one class: you can make money, but you can't make time. Combs is expected to speak here in court today. So is one of his victims, a woman who testified under the pseudonym Mia, before the judge imposes a sentence somewhere between time served and potentially years in prison. Guys?
Okay, Aaron, thanks. It's bringing our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. Aaron just laid it out right there. The prosecutors want 11 years. Defense wants him out by the end of the year. What's likely to happen?
Somewhere in between. I think it's more likely that he'll get something like 5 years in that area. The key question is going to be, how much does the judge take into consideration the other stuff, meaning the video, some of the crimes that he was not convicted of? Some people may say, wait a second, if he's acquitted, how can you consider that in sentencing? Well, it's possible that the judge could consider that, because when you're talking about sentencing, a judge can take into consideration, is the person a good person? Are they a bad person? Have they done other bad things or good things in their life? Think about it. On the positive side, people are going to bring in character witnesses to say, he's a great guy. The reverse applies as well. And so the question is going to be, how much does the judge take into consideration the bad things when sentencing?
Well, we heard Aaron say that one of the victims, Mia, is going to give an impact statement, but there are also some character letters supporting Combs. How does that come into play?
I don't know that all is going to make that much of a difference. I mean, judges don't like to admit this, but the judge is going to come in with a real good idea of where the sentence is going to be. It's not going to change as a result of that. And I think the fact that the probation department has said 5 to 7 years means that's pretty close to where it likely will end up.
You've covered a lot of these types of trials, especially with a video like the one in the hotel. Does he ever live beyond this, even if he gets out?
That's what makes this different than a white-collar case, right? In some of these other cases where we've heard about high-profile people charged with crimes and they move on with their lives and they're able to get back. It's going to be much harder for Sean Combs because of that video and because of what the testimony was in connection with this case.
Dan Abrams, thanks.
Now, with the emotional statement from the families of the 2 New Jersey teens killed when an SUV hit their e-bike. Rhiannon Alley is on the scene in Union County, and Rhiannon, we are also learning more about the suspect. Good morning.
That's right, Michael. We will talk more about that suspect in just a moment. But first, we are here at the church where a wake was held for one of those girls last night. These 2 teen girls had their entire lives ahead of them. Now their families are forced to say goodbye as the investigation continues into whether this was a tragic accident or murder. Overnight, the families of the 2 teens killed when an SUV plowed into their e-bike, speaking out.
She wasn't just my daughter. She was my best friend.
In a statement, the families of Maria Neotes and Isabella Salas say the teen behind the wheel of that SUV, a 17-year-old who has now been charged with 2 counts of murder, is a coward of a man. According to friends of the victims, there had been issues between the 17-year-old and one of the teen girls.
In a neighboring town, unfortunately, 2 girls were killed.
In a live stream shortly before his arrest, the suspect can be heard saying he has more information about the circumstances behind the, quote, incident.
There's more to the story that you're not getting, but when the time comes, I will explain it in greater detail.
But never goes on to explain those circumstances, instead saying he has been the victim of bullying.
I've been bullied, ridiculed, and stuff over false allegations, okay?
These were the type of girls that, befriended my daughter. She had her issues and stuff, and they were always so kind.
Friends and family remembering the 2 girls.
The whole community really joined together and, provided whatever evidence that the police needed.
Police have not said they believe it was targeted. The teenage suspect is currently in custody and is related to a police chief in a neighboring town. That chief, also a neighbor of Isabella's, saying in a statement, "I do unequivocally condemn the actions of the accused, and like you, I demand that he face the consequences of his alleged actions in a court of law." That 17-year-old suspect has been charged as a juvenile, but prosecutors have said they are not taking any options off the table. Meanwhile, here near Cranford, New Jersey, it's going to be a really tough few days as the community prepares to lay these girls to rest. Guys.
Yeah, we know that's tough for the community and the families, Rhiannon. Thank you so much.
There she is. We are back now with Taylor Swift's 12th album, The Life of a Showgirl. And Lara, you are here with all the details, including what Taylor herself is saying about all this new music.
Yes, I wish I had her on speed dial. I do not, but we do have news for you. Rebecca, it is here. Taylor's new album dropped at midnight. Fans have been celebrating all night long with listening parties around the country as fans try to decipher the meaning behind the lyrics on this album that Taylor herself says she's the showgirl. This album gives us glimpses into her life off stage during the Eras tour when she was falling in love with Travis Kelce and writing all of these songs.
And now I know the life of a showgirl, babe. Wouldn't have it any other way.
This morning, the life of a showgirl taking center stage.
So she waited by the stage door, asked the club promoter arrive. She said I'd sell my soul to have a taste of a magnificent life.
Taylor Swift dropping her 12th studio album overnight, sending Swifties into a frenzy. The highly anticipated release pulling back the curtain on her life off stage during her record-breaking Eras tour.
But it's actually sweet, all the time you've spent on me. It's honestly wild, all the effort you've put in.
And this morning, in a new interview on BBC Radio 1, Taylor saying the new album has teeth and acknowledging the influence her current relationship had on it.
It's a full picture of like the full life experience, which for me is like there's always some element of drama that someone is forcing into my consciousness, which is fun to write about.
The excitement for Taylor's new music nearly breaking the internet overnight, with live listening parties happening coast to coast. Fans also storming stores trying to get their hands on one of her coveted vinyls.
Really excited.
The singer, who recently got engaged to Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce, appearing to open up about their relationship in multiple songs, including The Fate of Ophelia and Wish List.
I just want you.
The album also featuring a song with ties to the late George Michael called Father Figure. George Michael's team writing online, "Thank you, Taylor Swift, for including George in such a special moment." And fans soaking up every last second of the ultimate showgirl's new music.
She really wants to set a statement that she is a fully formed grown woman who has opinions and who is really ready to share parts of her life that she hasn't shared before in music.
And she's ready to share more. Taylor Swift, the official release party of Showgirl, drops in theaters this afternoon, and Will Gans is at Spotify's The Life of a Showgirl pop-up here in Manhattan with all the details on that. Good morning to you, William.
Good morning to you, Lara, my fellow Swiftie. So the official release party of a Showgirl is tracking to make $40 million this weekend, which would give Taylor her second box office #1. Also means Taylor would have the #1 movie, album, and song in the country all at the same time, which is unheard of. Plus, our friends here from Spotify tell us that Taylor is poised to make history today with The Life of a Showgirl. More on that a little bit later. But first, I want to give you a peek behind the curtain into the life of a Swiftie. So on the official release calendar from Taylor Nation this weekend, there's an ominous standby listed for Saturday afternoon or evening. So what does it mean? Is Taylor going to release more music? Is she going to release an Eras Tour documentary? Is she going to perform with Sabrina Carpenter at Austin City Limits? Only time will tell, you guys.
Oh, so exciting. I can barely take it.
I just learned something new. Do you guys know what the word gagged means?
Gagged?
In the Urban Dictionary?
Yeah.
Amazed?
Yeah.
Oh.
Elliot's amazed by father figure.
Oh.
But did she write?
Thank you, George.
Did she write gagged?
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. President Trump threatens to fire federal workers as the Senate returns for a vote that could end the shutdown. The president eyeing cuts to what he calls Democrat agencies as Democrats refuse to back down.
This morning, Prince William getting personal.
I am optimistic. I'm generally a very optimistic person.
About the king and Princess Kate's battles with cancer, his plans for the throne, and the thing that's important for them to do as a family.
And celebrating 4 decades of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, our team of experts are here answering questions about treatment, prevention, and more as we fill our studio with thrivers. And they're saying,
Good morning, America!
Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Friday. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. There they are. The thrivers, they're here this morning. Yes, showing us what the fight against breast cancer looks like, empowered in action and looking to the future. We're going to hear from these inspiring women and get the latest science to treat and beat the disease from our team of experts, and that is coming up.
Really, really looking forward to that conversation. Also ahead, we are celebrating 3 years of The Right Stuff. Lori Bergamotto is here with the stuff our GMA staff swears by. We're turning the tables a bit today.
Today, first look at the top stories breaking today. We start with the latest on the government shutdown. I want to go back to our senior congressional correspondent, Rachel Scott on Capitol Hill. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you again, and we are entering day 3 of a government shutdown. Negotiations are at a standstill, and this morning the White House is threatening to fire thousands of federal workers and make major cuts to programs that are important to Democrats. In fact, just moments ago, Russell Vought, the OMB director, announcing they are holding funding for infrastructure projects in Chicago, which is in a blue state. It's all an effort to pressure Democrats to back off of their demands. Democrats say they are holding firm. They will not agree to fund the government unless Republicans agree to reverse Medicaid cuts, extend expiring Obamacare subsidies so that health insurance premiums don't rise for millions of Americans. And caught in the middle of all of this are federal workers. Some 2 million troops going unpaid. 750,000 workers have been furloughed. And we're learning this morning that some of those workers have out-of-office replies that have automatically been reset to denounce Democratic senators. One federal worker telling us that they are outraged by this, that they need to remain neutral to do their jobs. So this morning, the Senate does return back into session. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says he'll put a bill on the floor to keep the government funded. But Democrats right right now plan to vote against it because none of their demands are in that bill. Thune says that if they do, he will likely be sending lawmakers home for the weekend. The shutdown could drag on for another few days, Rebecca.
All right, Rachel, thank you. We're going to turn now to the potential crisis looming for maternity wards across the country and what moms-to-be should know. Our senior White House correspondent Selena Wang has that story. Good morning, Selena.
Hey, Rebecca, good morning. And our country is already in a maternal health crisis, and doctors warn it's only getting worse. At the center of the fight right now on Capitol Hill are those sweeping Medicaid cuts in the president's so-called big, beautiful bill. Now, health experts say those cuts could force more maternity wards to shut down as millions of women are already struggling to find care.
This morning, looming Medicaid cuts threatening the already dire maternal health system. More than 5 million women in the U.S. live in so-called maternity care deserts, communities with no OBGYNs or delivery wards. The tax and spending plan President Trump signed into law this year slashes Medicaid by $1 trillion over the next decade. Trump says this eliminates wasteful spending, but hospital groups warn the cuts could shutter entire facilities, and maternity care could get hit the hardest. But in Philadelphia, a rare bright spot, a brand new maternity hospital opening its doors at a time when labor and delivery units are vanishing across the country.
Labor and delivery units have shut down in both rural and in urban counties. We here at Temple Health are trying to provide this service to the women of our community close to their home.
Temple Health says their community's infant mortality rate is 3 times worse than the rest of the country, with 13 out of Philadelphia's 19 maternity units closing in recent decades. And Philadelphia is not alone. Across the nation, many women need to drive hours for care, raising the risk of life-threatening complications.
I had a patient who delivered in a campsite. I had a woman who almost delivered in a parking lot. She actually delivered in the elevator on the way up to labor and delivery.
Dr. Herta says that patient was carrying twins. Only one survived with severe disabilities.
If she had been able to get to the hospital faster, do you think both of her twins would have survived?
Yes, I do.
And this government shutdown is only worsening the strain on maternal care, not just inside the delivery room, but also in the support systems that moms and babies rely on. So take the WIC program, which provides nutrition and health services to 7 million low-income women and children. Well, it could run out of funding in about a week or so if this shutdown drags on. Rebecca?
So many issues there, including the insurance reimbursements, and Selena is going to take a look at all of them tonight on ABC News Live Prime. That is tonight.
All right, coming up in our GMA morning menu, Prince William sharing rare personal insight about his father and wife's battles with cancer and being king one day.
And we have more details on Taylor's new album. Will Gans is with some fans celebrating the release.
And Maggie Rulli has a real rough assignment. She takes us to a place where it's always golden hour, and Lara and Sam were with some special guests. Hey, guys.
Did you hear the energy in this studio earlier? This is a studio full of thrivers here, women who have faced breast cancer, and are here to support each other, but here to support everybody, really.
Absolutely. And this morning, we are going to get their questions answered from our team of experts. I think it's going to help a lot of you out there. So stay with us on Good Morning America.
You guys got questions ready? Are you ready? All right.
Welcome back to GMA. That is the Indigo Girls with their hit Closer to Fine. They'll be joining us on GMA3 to talk about the documentary Lilith Fair, Building a Mystery, The Untold Story. It's on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+. And the doc, guys, has just been certified fresh, getting a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. That's really hard to do.
Yeah.
Critics calling it a celebration of a phenomenon. Takes me back.
Yeah, really a great time and great music. We're going to go now to our GMA cover story. Prince William sitting down for a rare interview talking about family, his father and Princess Kate's health fights, and how he plans to change the monarchy once he becomes king. Sam, you have the story for us.
That was an interesting line. And Michael, this was a really good interview with the future King of England. People are saying they've never seen William as open as he was here. He spoke about wanting to change the monarchy when he's king. And he spoke about his home life, his kids, how tough his parents' split was. There's more.
I am optimistic. I'm generally a very optimistic person.
This morning, Prince William sharing some rare personal insights with Eugene Levy.
Yeah, I think stuff to do with family overwhelms me quite a bit. You know, worry or stress around family side of things, that does overwhelm me quite a bit. But in terms of, you know, doing the job and things like that, I don't feel too overwhelmed by that. Not now, anyway.
The job? Well, he's going to be king one day. William telling the reluctant traveler that things will be different under his reign.
I think it's safe to say that change is on my agenda. Change for good. And I embrace that and I enjoy that change. I don't fear it. That's the bit that excites me.
A taste of a more modern king.
This is your mode of transportation.
It is right here.
William sharing with Levy the trials of last year when both his wife and father were diagnosed with cancer.
I'm so proud of my wife and my father for how they've handled all of last year. My children have managed brilliantly as well.
Catherine is in remission now.
Yes.
Yes,
she is, yeah.
which is wonderful.
It's great news, exactly.
How did that affect the children, if I may ask?
Everyone has their own coping mechanisms for these sorts of things, and children are constantly learning and adapting. We try to make sure we give them the security and the safety that they need. And we're a very open family, so we talk about, you know, things that bother us and things that trouble us. But you never quite know the knock-on effects it can have.
And the prince stressing the importance of his work-life balance.
Because for me, the most important thing in my life is family, and everything is about the future. And about, if you don't start the children off now with a happy, healthy, stable home, I feel you're setting them up for a bit of a hard time and a fall.
The interview, I think, a really good pairing. Prince William says he's also preparing George to be king one day, and how important it is for them to sit down to dinner together, and that none of his children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, have phones. Apparently, Louis is big into trampolining instead, though. Like he, you know, but I think that was
good kid stuff.
Super interesting.
Really I thought it was great, and the future king seemed very relaxed and unguarded. We really saw a different side of him.
Yeah.
I wonder how long you can hold off on the phones. That's interesting.
Yeah.
How long did you manage to hold off on the
We
phones?
didn't last very long. 5th grade.
Royalty, they're just like us. So should we do some pop?
Let's do it.
You guys know what we're talking about, right? Of course, Taylor Swift and the rollout of The Life of a Showgirl. It's in full swing, and Taylor's giving us more than music. She spent this morning across the pond doing some promoting on UK morning radio shows, pulling back the curtain, if you will, on her real life and sharing more about her engagement to Travis Kelce, including that Travis designed the ring with a jeweler that Taylor mentioned to him a year and a half before the proposal. Very thoughtful. He was listening. And as for wedding planning, this is what she had to say on Breakfast with Jamie and Emma Bunton.
You would think that I had been the type of person who would have obsessed over the idea of a wedding my whole life, but I actually never thought about what I would ever do or what I would want until I met the person.
And she has some planning to do. Taylor also took time out to fangirl over Spice Girl Emma Bunton. Yep, that's her. Telling her that she was the biggest fan as a kid. She even had her doll. As for the album, Taylor going on to reveal her favorite track on it. It's Wish List, which is all about the future she hopes to have with Travis, including kids and a basketball hoop in her driveway. So that's exciting that we know her favorite song. I think I've had a listen. Was Elizabeth Taylor your favorite?
I haven't heard Elizabeth Taylor yet. I was working my way down the list.
It's
Did you like it?
very, very good. Okay. Yes. And I'm not the only one. Taylor's, we know her favorite song, but what do the critics have to say? Rolling Stone is giving the album 5 stars, guys, saying Taylor conquers her biggest stage ever, hits all the marks. The magazine is even doing a full homepage takeover that they're dubbing Rolling Stone Taylor's version. And Billboard has given a big thumbs up, writing Taylor brings the bangers on in Life of a Showgirl, and that Swift is giving a more mature spin on her classic pop sound. And then across the pond, the BBC is calling the album a triumphant pop victory lap. So well done on Taylor. Everybody's loving it, including this guy, Will Gans. We got to bring him back right now. Major Swiftie, and he is in the epicenter, guys, of the Swiftie frenzy at Spotify's The Life of a Showgirl pop-up experience here in New York City, with all of the details on fan reaction and the listening parties overnight. Good morning, Will, again to you.
Good morning, Lara, and happy release day of The Life of a Showgirl. Now, Lara, listen to this. We have an exclusive reveal from Spotify. Right now, at this very moment, there are 1.2 million Spotify users streaming The Life of a Showgirl as we speak. 1.2 million, you guys, for her 12th studio album. That's some Tay voodoo, if you ask me. Now, let's talk about fan reaction. 6,000 Swifties have come through The Life of a Showgirl Spotify experience right here, but we saved the most diehard Swifties for GMA, of course, which brings me, to my new friend, Teresa. Teresa, you called out of work when you found out that the album was coming out today. Is there anything you'd like to say to your boss now that we're on national television?
Yes, luckily my team is really supportive. The moment the album date was announced, they already knew I was taking off, so very thankful for them.
They're
very happy to be here.
They're used to shaking it off, I guess, if you will. We have been talking about favorite songs. There's a lot of Opalite fans around here. There's a lot of Fate of Ophelia fans around here. But we're all waiting on what that mysterious standby might be happening tomorrow. So we'll be screaming. You'll know. When we find out, you guys will know back in the studio.
I'm counting on you, Will. I need to know first. I know you will. And I'm just wondering, do you have a favorite track on the new album?
I mean, I can't get Opalite out of my head. I took a city bike down to the Spotify experience today, and I was listening to Opalite and singing in the streets of Manhattan.
All right, good to know.
I'm an
Good to
Opalite
know.
guy.
Thank you, Will. Thank you so much for all of this.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
Elliot
does have one. Elizabeth Taylor.
That's her favorite song. Elliot, good choice. George's daughter,
All right.
Elizabeth Taylor. Fantastic. And then finally, guys, this morning, we're going to switch gears and talk about something we love almost as much as Taylor, a good dog story. And Maggie Ruley is here because she took a trip to a farm in Vermont where dogs and humans can find their joy and have some golden fun. Will you tell us about this beautiful place?
I mean, dogs and Taylor. Could the morning get any better than this?
No, it really can. And it's Friday. I mean, trifecta of perfection.
So I don't want to brag right now. I'm just stating a fact that Will, had the best assignment of the week, maybe the year, and I am still dreaming of puppy kisses.
This morning, GMA goes golden. With doggy kisses, cuddles.
You like the rubs, don't you?
And puppies. So much puppy love.
This is the cutest thing I've ever seen.
At the Golden Dog Farm in Jeffersonville, Vermont.
Are you ready?
Their golden experience, the ultimate happy hour. It's a puppy play date going viral.
Come with us to the Golden Retriever Dog Farm in Vermont.
This is like being a kid at Disneyland if you're a Golden Retriever fan.
This is pure joy.
This is pure joy.
It's that pure happiness that owners Doug and Rebecca Werpel say they want to share with the world.
Has there anything that surprised you?
I think how many people wanted this to exist, but didn't know it.
I found myself needing the farm as much as our guests do for the happiness. It would just give me so much joy to be able to bring joy to other people. Like, people can't leave here not happy.
Something that I found out firsthand.
And yes, I think I still have dog drool all over me, but honestly, I could not be happier about it right now. It's the new facial, yes. Well, George, I understand that your family just welcomed a new golden in July. So my question for you, George, do you let Fig give you puppy kisses like that all over your face?
Fig,
Yes?
yeah, Fig, and she's so affectionate. She starts every morning, 4 o'clock every morning. She comes up, and she just puts her head right up there. That's how she starts her day. She's also discovered squirrels.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's after the squirrels.
Oh, she loves her
Those are
dad.
my figgies, yeah.
Were you eating a sandwich?
I'm sure she wanted it.
And I just learned the whole concept of golden birthdays, which I did not know.
Yeah.
But happy birthday to the right stuff, 3 years old on the 3rd of October, which I guess is The golden.
We go from
right.
golden retrievers
To
to
golden
golden
birthdays.
birthdays. A golden year for us here at Good Morning America.
And hey, we want to mark this special occasion, so we asked our GMA staff for products that they can't live or do their jobs without, and Lori B is here to tell us about these products in honor of the birthday.
Well, and you guys know, whenever we do the right stuff, people want to know, is that really the best? Let me try it out. And let me tell you guys something. The staff of Good Morning America, they'll tell you what they like and what they don't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sam knows.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to kick things off with our audio team, who we love so much. I think they're the best in the business. They're very discerning. So there's 3 of them right there. We see Dave, Nick, and Joelle. And so when they told us about these Soundcore earbuds, we paid close attention. Here's why. These are noise canceling. They actually use these, you guys, here in the studio. They're noise canceling. They pair instantly. I don't know about you, but I always have trouble with the Bluetooth.
Yeah.
These are so user-friendly.
Okay, good.
And
Well, the gentlemen are very stylish.
They are
except
very
Dave never
stylish,
listens to me, so now I know why. All right, go ahead.
Because they can cancel up to 42 decibels, Sam. And Sam, you're just under that threshold. And they also have a battery life of up to 45 hours. And they're under $30, you guys.
All right,
So
that's fantastic.
It's a great pick
And
from
then
them.
I know who gave you this
Who's
recommendation.
yes. Ooh.
Whoopsie.
Wasn't it? Feel, I'm actually glad you did
But-
that because feel how light
And
that
it is light.
Okay, so yes,
This is a
Lara
great hair
knows who
dryer.
gave this recommendation. It was our hair team. Greg, who does your hair often. I've had the privilege, there they are, the great hair team, of having many of them do my hair. And I'll tell you, they all have a different approach, but they all agree on this slope hill
It's
blow
fantastic,
dryer.
you guys. It's so fast, it's so light.
Yes, it's really efficient, which is one of the things they love about it. It weighs under a pound, and it has 30 million negative ions. Sam's looking at me like,
No,
what does
I
that
love
mean?
this.
It means you're not going to get frizz.
Okay.
Right. Look at Will Reeve, look right there.
Oh, look how good
His
Will
hair
looks.
looks so good.
Oh, it has it like a diffuser?
Yes, it has
attachment?
different
I didn't know
attachments.
that.
This is under $90, has like 10,000 five-star reviews.
All right, great.
Okay, our stage crew, nobody's running around more than them, right? So they told us about the Hokas.
Yep.
I thought you were wearing
there's
the
some of them
Hokas.
right
I
there.
thought
And
he
there's
was.
Brad, our
Yep.
stage
D-Rod
manager,
is
right
doing
there,
the right stuff.
dancing
Yes.
around. These are their Bondi 9. They have an extra stack in here, you guys. Really premium midsole. Brad's just getting down over there.
He's dancing.
And so
As
from
usual.
camera operators to stage managers, these will keep them comfortable and running around and super active all day.
Great
Very
idea.
nice.
And then
Must stay hydrated.
Yes, here at GMA, you have to stay hydrated to do your job. So the producers here, love the Owala, and here's why. It keeps things cold for up to 24 hours.
Okay, that's good.
And and you can also you can push the button. Whoop, push the button. Okay.
And
you
it
can
has like a little
sip.
sip.
It
Oh,
has
the
a
sippy
straw.
cup. You showed me this
We did this
before.
once before, Sam.
So you don't have
where
to
you
tilt
can
it up.
sip
Yep.
or you can chug if you so
So
desire.
you don't need a straw.
But
No.
so many of our GMA
I'm a
producers
chugger.
use these. These are great. We love especially this golden one right up here in the front.
Oh.
And so it's just our 3rd birthday, and I want to say thank you to all of you guys because we really do. We have a small but mighty team here. Caroline, Jillian, Nicole. Thank you to
where
Simone
is
for
everybody?
letting us do it. We know that you guys want the best in class at an affordable price, and we really, really try to deliver that every Friday.
Thanks
Happy
for bringing
birthday.
it.
Thank
3
you,
years
guys.
of really great information that
Can
we
I?
can use.
Oh, yes, you can have a
Go for it,
cupcake, Sam,
Sammy.
here.
Meanwhile, we can't celebrate
take the
our birthday without cupcakes. Happy birthday to Lori and the whole Right Stuff gang. And guys, you can shop all these products on goodmorningamerica.com. Is it good?
Yeah, the icing's good.
It looks really good.
right.
We are celebrating 40 years of Pink with these Thrivers coming up on Good Morning America. We are going to answer their questions with our team of experts, and hopefully it will help you a great deal.
Welcome back to GMA, live from New York City.
Hey everybody, Melissa Etheridge here. I'm a 21-year breast cancer survivor.
Everybody, I'm Joan London, and I'm proud to say that I'm an 11-year breast cancer survivor.
It's about thriving. It's about putting yourself first.
If breast cancer is detected early, survival rates are now close to 90%.
I know we like to put everybody else first sometimes, because that's what we do, but we're no good for anybody else unless we put ourselves first.
Knowledge is power. It can save your life.
Welcome back to GMA, and as Joan London said, knowledge is power. Well, this morning, we're celebrating 40 years of Pink, 4 decades since the launch of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're happy to have an audience filled with Thrivers. That's right. And also these three experts to bring us the latest in breast cancer care and answer questions from the women here. We have our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Tara Narula, Dr. Shanti Savendran of the American Cancer Society, and Dr. Monique James of Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Welcome to all of you. Welcome. It is, give it up one more time. Great to have you all here. And thank you three for being here to answer all of our questions. Dr. Savendran, I want to start with you. Where are we with survival rates, with treatment, and the latest advances that matter most to patients right now?
Well, this is a really incredible time, celebrating 40 years of progress in breast cancer. If I take you back to 1985, 1 in 3 women were getting their mammograms, and we had really limited access to innovative treatments and screening technologies. And now, 40 years later, 2 out of 3 women are getting mammograms. We've had a 40% reduction in breast cancer mortality, over 5 million breast cancer survivors. And this is all thanks to this amazing innovation in breast cancer. As we look ahead to the next 40 years, some of those things that you're talking about, like vaccines, AI, those are really important parts of jumping forward into the next 40 years. So something like cancer vaccines is actually prime time for some cancers right now. We use it in bladder cancer, we use it in melanoma, we use it in prostate cancer, and we'll continue to make that kind of progress with cancer research. And when we think about AI, that's great technology to help us do things like augment our ability to read mammograms and augment our workforce. So when I look forward, I think this is a really exciting time for breast cancer.
It is so exciting as somebody who, my mom has overcome breast cancer, and so many people here are dealing with it in so many different places in their life. Dr. James, I want to talk to you a little bit about managing, because now lives are being prolonged. Yes. People may not even be cured, but they are managing that cancer. How do they deal with the emotional impact of that and the mental health impact of that in the long run?
Yeah, such a huge and important question. And with 40 years of breast cancer awareness and research, people really are living longer with the disease. And so you move from a state of shock, a state of crisis, even a state of survival mode, into more of a state of maintenance. It's almost like living with a chronic medical illness. And so how do you do your best to go with that? You actually learn to walk with uncertainty, you learn to walk with unpredictability, and a lot of the mental and emotional challenge is how you do that. It's interesting, right? One of the best ways of walking with uncertainty is actually planning, actually doing, actually having action, right? You plan for the now so that you can actually plan for the future, but you start now and start in the present. Hope takes action. That's right, that's right, it's a verb.
Another key word, resilience. You've just written a book, Dr. Narula, called The Healing Power of Resilience. How can women facing cancer cultivate it?
Yeah, George, I mean, when you are sitting in that exam room or you're at home and you get that call that says you have cancer, it is literally a moment where you are paralyzed, for many women frozen in fear, and your whole world is turned upside down. And so really in that moment, what we hope to do with the book is say that you can change a stress response into a resilient response. And there are ways to do that. Psychology tells us in the book, we talk about things like acceptance and flexible thinking and exercising, supporting your body's strength, focusing on hope and optimism and connection. So there are strategies you can use in that moment so that you can really move forward. And you're never going to be the same, ever. But you can find a new normal, you can thrive, and you can have great quality of life and meaning in your life. So for me, resilience is that light that really helps you find the path in the darkness. It's a great skill to cultivate.
Indeed. Dr. Savendran, after breast cancer surgery, a lot of women have decisions to make about reconstructive surgery. What can you tell women about the options available today for them?
Yeah, it's a great question. So reconstructive options have come a really long way. And when I think about those reconstructive options, sort of divide them up into what we call flap options and implant options. So flap options are ones where we're taking tissue from some other part of our body and we're moving it to the chest and creating a breast that way. And that can be taken from various different parts of the body, and we're using skin and blood vessels and tissue, sometimes muscle, and moving it to the chest. And then there are implant options, so using saline or silicone implants to try to recreate the breast. But I think it's important to also understand that reconstructive surgery is not the only option, right? So there are many women who decide that they just don't want to go through another surgery, right? That can be really hard. And embracing the figure that they have now, right? And that's a great option. And then the second is for women who don't want to go through a surgery, but still want to have some shape underneath their clothes. There are special bras, prostheses in those bras that you can use to create the shape. But at the end of the day, it's what the patient themselves values and what they can work together with their healthcare team to create.
Great, thank you. It's so great to have you guys and to talk about the options. But Dr. James, now that we have options, we have to make choices. So you say, because at one time we didn't have options, right? But you say there's some questions that people should ask themselves to choose these. So what are they?
Definitely. So one of the first questions I always ask, right, is what do your breasts mean to you, right? So not what have they meant, but what do they mean now? And when you ask that kind of question, you get the values, right, of that person. You get how they see themselves as they move through the world, right, how they walk through the world and present themselves. Once you have those kinds of values about that person, we can start to help guide them a little bit better with the decisions. And a big thing that we say all the time, right, it's not about a worse or a better outcome. It's about that it'll be different, right? So it's not going to be the same. It'll be different, but different is something that we can tackle, something that we can cope with, something that we can adapt to. And so remembering that we still have all these tools with us for that.
And Dr. Narula, you're a cardiologist. You said women should pay attention to their heart health, especially after going through radiation and then chemo. What questions should they be asking their doctors?
This is so important, Michael, because as we've seen advances in breast cancer treatment, and we have 5 million survivors, what a lot of survivors don't know is that cardiovascular disease is still lurking as a big threat. We know it is the leading cause of death for women. And in fact, with breast cancer, there are a couple of reasons why they could be at risk. One is there are shared risk factors. So things like obesity, sedentary lifestyle, smoking puts you at risk for breast cancer and also cardiovascular disease. But the second is, as you mentioned, many of the treatments that we give women, chemotherapy and radiation, can cause early accelerated coronary artery disease or plaque in the arteries. It can damage the heart valves. It can damage the heart muscle that can lead to heart failure or even heart rhythm problems. So it's important when you get discharged to make sure you have a record of your chemo and radiation, that you set up care with a cardiologist to look at your risk factors and also potentially get screening with ultrasounds and other tests that they might recommend.
And now it's time to hear from the thrivers in our audience this morning. Lara and Sam are speaking with all of them. Take it away, guys.
Will do, Rebecca. And I'm here now with Amanda McElroy. Come on up. And Amanda, you have a question. Go ahead and share it.
Yes. I'm 42 years old, and I'm a 4-year survivor of stage 4 triple negative breast cancer. What strategies help manage fatigue, cognitive changes, or other side effects while returning to work or other daily routines?
Amanda, thank you for bringing attention to a really important topic. So what you're describing is a side effect of going through cancer treatment that can be chronic and can make it difficult for patients to, return to the workforce or to just be able to return to their normal, where they were before. And that can be mild or it can be debilitating, right? And anywhere in between. So as I think about some potential sort of action items that a person can do, the first one is get moving. Get your body moving and get your brain moving, right? So going for those walks, being deliberate about exercises, puzzles, all of those things. The second is there are all things that we value in our lives, and prioritizing those things of value and putting our energy behind those, right? Sometimes we try to do it all, and that's really difficult. Everybody has a team of people that they can lean on, and that's the time you lean on the team to help you do those other tasks, right? And so, and then if despite some of those things that we were talking about, that you're still having trouble, it's really important to loop in your healthcare team. There can be some really formal ways to rehabilitate both physically and mentally, and get that additional help that someone needs.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Good question, good answer. Shannon, Vic, you've got a question. Shannon, if you would stand up. I was reading over your shoulder your question. It's a good one. I think a lot of people will have the same thing. Go ahead.
I'm 46 years old with 4 children, and I'm a 12-year thriver of metastatic breast cancer. My question is, the word cancer is scary for an adult, let alone a child. So do you have any advice for mothers on how to talk to their children?
Such an important question, and 12 years, right? It's just amazing,
Yeah,
amazing. So kids, we all have different kinds of kids in our life, right? Sometimes they're our own children, sometimes they might be nieces or they might be nephews, right? The first thing to remember is that most kids of all ages can usually sense or realize that something is up with their parents, with the adults in their life, right? And so with that, you never want the child to be alone with the questions that they might have. So the number one recommendation is to say something. So what do you say, right? That's the big thing here. It's okay for parents to feel unsure. It's okay if you don't know exactly what to say. It's okay if you even practice what to say. But our recommendations are that it's age appropriate, that it's familiar language that you use with the kids. You might also think about who you want with you to tell them, right? And that it might actually be a series of conversations that you tell the child, right? You give them a heads up, maybe of any physical changes that you might have. And the last thing, of course, the most important thing coming from me, the psychiatrist, right, is that you allow them to express their emotions. You allow them to express their feelings. And they might see the emotions in you. That's okay too, right? Because you'll model for them how to deal with emotions and feelings.
Wow, very, very important
Important
information.
stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shin.
This is Lisa Lefebvre. Hi, Lisa.
Good morning.
What would you like to ask the doctors?
Thank you. I am 41 years old. I am a one-year breast cancer survivor. One of my biggest fears as a breast cancer survivor is recurrence. So what advice do you have for a breast cancer survivor who wants to enjoy life but still carries that fear?
That's such a great question, Lisa. And, you know, we talked earlier about what happens in that moment when you get diagnosed. And I think fear is so normal. And I would ask everyone here, how many of you felt afraid or still might feel afraid?
Yeah.
Almost everyone, right? So the important thing is to normalize it, to understand that that's part of the reaction. And I hear this a lot with my patients who have cardiovascular disease or have had a heart attack or a stroke. What if it happens again? And the advice I often give them is to say, don't focus on the future. Focus on the present moment. Put one foot in front of the other. Don't worry about something that might never happen and let it take away the joy from the moment that's happening right now. And you will also find that as time passes, time really is a healer. We say that, but as you get farther and farther and farther away from the event, the fear gets less and less. It never goes away, but it gets less present.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
An excellent question, Lisa, and all of you. Thank you for your questions. Thanks to all of you for the great answers. So much value. Ginger, over to you.
Thank you, Rebecca. And as we've just heard, and now I'm surrounded, we've got thrivers there, thrivers here. We know that a diagnosis of breast cancer is a life-changing moment, and the American Cancer Society wants to help. They have a wide range of items, from wigs to bras to post-surgery recovery tools, like a lot of those that you see right here. They're all available to support you through this challenging time and help you remain ever you. For more information, you can scan the QR code on the screen.
All right, let's hear it for the thrivers in our audience and everyone who's at home watching.
Yeah. And coming up, we're going to have more experts answer some questions. And this has been so good. So not all your friends are watching. Call. Tell them to watch. This is great.
And we are back with Dr. Tara Narula, Dr. Shanti Savendran, and Dr. Monique James, our audience of thrivers. We have some more questions there.
Thank you so much. Janelle Adams.
Yes.
Hi, Janelle, come on up here.
Thank
You have a question for our doctors.
I do. I'm 37 years old. I'm 2 years in remission from stage 3 triple-negative breast cancer. My question is, how can survivors be more included in shaping clinical trials and researchers so our voices are heard?
It's a great question, Janelle. So I'm going to leave everybody here with 2 action items today. The first is your voice is powerful in advocating for cancer research. Cancer research is a nonpartisan issue, right? We need to use our pressure to make sure that cancer research is continued to be funded so that we can move this progress 40 years into the future. The second is be a participant in clinical trials. Clinical trials are the way that we advance innovation in cancer medicine. It can be difficult to take part in clinical trials. There are a ton of barriers in taking part in clinical trials. We recognize that at the American Cancer Society. And I encourage you to check out our Access to Clinical Trials and Support program, where we help get you matches to eligible clinical trials, but also help mitigate those barriers like transportation, lodging, financial difficulties to getting you to that clinical trial. So use your voice to do cancer research advocacy and to participate in clinical trials.
All right, great. I think we've got time for one more question. Candace, do you want to take it?
Sure.
Candace Jeffrey.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm a 7-year breast cancer survivor this month. My question is, there are many women who decide on the holistic way of treating cancer. Is there a safe way to go both routes, holistically and medically?
Great question, and thank you for that. So the first thing with holistic medicine is that you do have to talk to your oncology team about it, right? Sometimes with these medicines, even though they're over the counter, they might actually interact with chemotherapy, with immunotherapy, with even hormone therapy. So the number one thing is to talk with your oncologist about it so that we can see if we can then incorporate both. A lot of times people want holistic medicine for a state of wellness and well-being. And so that's what we always want to prioritize with our patients. And then this way we can see if we can do both of them at the same time.
Thank you. Thank you, doctors. Thank you, all of our thrivers.
Thank you, guys.
For more information, scan the QR code to take you to goodmorningamerica.com. Really fun. Big thank you to all of our thrivers. Thank you for coming in this morning. Thank you to our doctors as well. And we all hope all of you have a great weekend.